All right, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Do Our Things podcast. I'm Jay Teagues, and I have in studio with me the lovely, ravishing Angie Bertrand. How you doing this morning, Angie?
I'm here. I'm awake. It's Monday. Let's do it.
It is Monday. Let's freaking do it.
Yes.
It's today's episode, a little personal, something that's really been tugging on my heartstrings. It's the title is "Time is Precious," so stop freaking wasting it. I think I just threw the freaking in there. The bottom line is, Angie and I were talking, and we've had some people. Look, we're uh, I'd say middle age, right?
Yeah.
I'm 45,
I'm 47.
and you're 47,
Mhm.
and I feel great. I feel great.
Mhm.
I remember when I was younger, there were like people were like having like at 40 like over the hill parties and like retirement parties and like this like 50 you're like over the hill and like you're about to be put out to pasture. I feel like I'm just now hitting my stride in life.
Yeah.
But what I've noticed is that in the last couple of years, people of our age group are just keeling over, or there's like diseases that people are battling with,
Hmm.
and it's become like it's a stark reminder that although we're going to be talking to our financial planner later this week, we're talking about living until we're 80 and planning for 80, 90. That's ultimately where we want to be. The reality of it is that we may just not make it that far, and
Yeah.
that we need to start living our life now, be more in the moment now, and be prepared, and do just live our life. We live in a society where we're so caught up in our career, we're caught up in these things that just don't quite
Hmm.
matter,
Yeah.
and we're leaving a lot on the table. And I think that's the takeaway from today's um, episode is just what can you do to start living your life more. And although we're planning for retirement in our 80s, 90s, 100, I want to be who does the 100. Remember watching the weatherman every day, and you'd be like, this person's 101 years old
Oh,
today.
yeah. Yeah. They
Gordon
would
Scott,
celebrate
right? It was
that.
like,
Yeah.
awesome. I want to get to 100, right?
Yeah.
And that's the goal. But I don't know. That's just what's on my heartstrings. But before we get into that, real quick, some housekeeping stuff. Make sure you smash that subscribe button so you're notified of future episodes. We're on Spotify, Apple, Pocket Cast, YouTube. We're everywhere. Leave us a review on iTunes. They matter. They go a long way to helping us advance the Do Our Things Nation and the algorithm there. And share it with a couple of your friends. And this episode is sponsored by the Lions Guide, and we have a group called The Forge. The Forge is a high performance community at Lions Guide, and Lions Guide is a leadership development organization. And at Lions Guide, we feel that leadership solves most problems. And The Forge is a community of like minded people that where we network together, we provide frameworks, we offer challenges and accountability to help you level up. We teach high performance habits, and we have a community of like minded people rowing together to level up. So if you'd like to learn more about that, go check out thelionsguide.com. We have a book club, we have a weekly meeting, we send out weekly journal prompts, and everyone in there is kicking butt. So if you'd like to learn more about that, you want to advance to the next level, go check that out. I'd be happy to talk to you about that. We also have Do Hard Things apparel. So I've got my leaders or readers shirt. We've got the smile shirt. We got all sorts of hats and hoodies and shirts over there. So if you want some motivational gear, like what we're doing here, you want to support what we're doing, go to doorthingsnation.com. You can also check out our upcoming events. Next event is on 9 September. We've got the Do Hard Things 9.11 mile run and 9.11 mile ruck. And we're already over at the halfway point, I think, on registrants for what we have available. So we're doing pretty good
Oh,
there.
nice. Right
Yeah.
on. Hey, listen,
So,
if you can't go to that in person, you can sign up to do it virtually. I unfortunately have to work, and so I'm gonna have to do it virtually. So don't not sign up because you
yeah.
can't be there in person. Sign up, do it. Do it wherever you are, wherever you're listening from. Knock it out, send us pictures, do all the things.
Yeah, we got a friend who's deployed abroad, and he's trying to get a few of his buddies to do the virtual ruck. So he's going to be doing it internationally. So we got people from across the globe doing it. So go check it out. Virtual option is available. yourthingsnation.com. Go check it out.
Mhm.
So all right. So I guess the crux of today's podcast is really time's precious. Stop wasting it, and just stop taking your time your loved ones for granted because you never know. I mean, here's the reality. And this is a hard truth bomb on Monday morning, is that the one thing, the reality for all of us is that at some point our heart will stop ticking, and when it stops beating, uh, there's no going back, right? And
Yeah.
so, how can we get the most out of life? And it's very difficult because we have some grandiose ideas of traveling the world and doing all these things, and we're also trying to scrape a living together and trying to get your kids to school and make good choices and all these other competing interests.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the what happens to people is they get so caught up in the day to day reality of their career or some of these other organizations that they're a part of, and they know that, they have a burning desire that, they need to go take that trip to Europe, or they need to go and they want to learn how to play a guitar, and they keep putting themselves on the back burner.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to find time for those things that is in our heart, that burning desire to achieve those things, so we don't end up with regrets later in life or when it's too late.
Yeah.
And that's every time that I'm reminded of a family member passing or a friend passing or this, I'm always reminded of that. Like, man, am I living my life? Am I truly living my life to the best of my ability now? And what can I do? And I think personally, from a personal perspective, I think that I am,
Mm-hmm.
for the most part. I'm traveling, I'm having the experiences that I want to have, but it's difficult to do that. I don't know. What are your thoughts on living life, Angie?
Uh, well, I like to say life work balance versus work life balance. And so if you're still of working age and you still got a job you got to go to, um, it took me a very, very long time to understand that I didn't need to put my job first. And don't get me wrong, I don't mean calling out sick or, just not showing up. What I mean is giving myself permission to take the time off, to take the vacations, to take the time off to go spend with loved ones when they needed me, to take the time off to go do what needed to be done for myself to have a balanced life. So I didn't feel like I was, because I have a really bad tendency to um, dive in head first and um, oh, what is that? Just uh, I didn't have a good work life balance because I worked all the time and I thought I had to be there. And at some even sometimes I had supervisors that made me feel like um, guilty if I took time off, or like, oh, I can't believe why are you taking so much time off? What, you need to be here. We need you here. But really, my loved ones needed me there, and when I finally just made that connection and realized, mm, it's not going to burn down, it's going to keep going. And this is what I need to do. As long as when I'm there. That's kind of a hard lesson. It took me a very long time to learn, but I'm so glad I did it. I'm so glad I did it. So I think that's the first step to a lot of people really living their life the way that will cause them a lot of happiness and put purpose in it, is to realize, to achieve that life work balance. If you're still working, make sure that you're putting you first, make sure you're putting your family first, and all the important things that feed your heart and soul first, because your job, if something happens to you, they're going to replace you. Like, it's going to get done. It has no choice but to get done. Somebody's going to do it, and you shouldn't feel guilty for it as long as you're given what you need to give when you're there.
Yeah, absolutely. Someone just posted here from LinkedIn. Good morning. If you don't take time for yourself, your body will do it for you. Relax and live your life. Your body keeps the score. There's a great book on that very topic about how stress and not taking care of yourself, like your body will definitely keep score on those things.
Hmm.
And Angie, to your point, when we think about work life balance, common pitfall is that I have to have equal parts, equal amount of time, but it's really the quality of time that you spend.
Hmm.
And I think we have a lot more personal time than we realize. Unfortunately, the way the system is designed for most people, they get up first thing in the morning, they take care of themselves, and they go right into work. And they give probably their freshest, most creative part to their job. Lacey's just looking at me and kind of shaking her head. And she's waking up this morning doing her most creative bit. Am I number one? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay. She just told me I'm number one.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, and then and it seems like we give the table scraps of everything else to our own self, and then we go to sleep at night, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of how the system is kind of set up for most people. That I love our industrious American society,
Yeah.
but we have to be very aware of that common pitfall.
Yeah.
Well, you just need to be here. We got to roll up our sleeves. We got work to do, and for some people and some organizations, they lose perspective of what life truly is.
Yeah.
And what I want people to realize is that stuff at work, like you're replaceable. Like
Yeah.
you don't show up tomorrow, they're gonna find a replacement for you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a hard pill to swallow. I mean, that's what I realized. One of the saddest days of my military career was the day that I started my. It wasn't the day that I actually got out, but it was like the day that I really kind of handed over everything, and
Yeah.
I was starting my career skills program, and it was the realization that I was no longer needed. I had my boss, and it basically turned over everything. And it was like, okay, there's no marching band waiting
Yeah.
for me. All the cubes were empty because it was after like 5 o'clock. It was like 6 o'clock, and the
Yeah.
parking lot was empty. And I'm walking out there, and I'm just like, that's it. That was my last legit day of Army work.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, the Army. I was thinking about the Army song. The Army just goes rolling along. It's
does.
rolling along without me, and I'm now like just. And I'm not gonna, and I'm still feeling all of the transition, and I've talked to a lot of people that transition from the military, feeling that like when you finally come to the realization that you're not nearly as important as you think you were,
Mm-hmm.
it really hits you like a freight train. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and that's where people kind of they do themselves a very bad injustice when they wrap themselves up in their career
Yeah,
and they define themselves by their job versus defining themselves by their what feeds their soul and makes them happy.
yeah,
And with all the things, those external things that you can't be replaced to your family. They're not going to replace you, your friends and family. They're just not. And if when you're not there tomorrow, when that happens, that's where you're important. That's where you need to see that, not the people that you report to. I mean, yes, we spend more time with the people at work because that's just how the system is set up, right? But they're gonna replace you. You are replaceable. That they got to make their money. They got to get the job done. But your family, you're not replaceable to your family. Like they're not gonna, you know,
yeah, yeah.
put it where it's important.
And another point to that, if you're working in a job that you hate, you got to figure out a way to change it. You have to
Yes.
figure that out.
Yes.
Spending way too much of your life and time doing this thing that you're doing, and if you don't like the culture of the people,
Mm-hmm.
you have got to find a way out of it. And what happens to people, and this is a pitfall, and like you said, I love our American society, but it's designed
Yeah.
to be this way. They pay you just enough to get super comfortable, and then you overextend your financial commitments to a house or cars or
Mm-hmm.
credit cards, and then you can't make the switch. And
Yeah.
you haven't done the financial preparation needed, and you get stuck.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a honeypot. Or they'll dangle out this little pension, or they'll dangle out this promotion, and
Mm-hmm.
they put the golden handcuffs on you, and then you're stuck.
Yeah.
And then you become, I don't even know if you can say it anymore. I don't, and if I get this wrong, I'm sorry. You become a slave.
Yeah. You become a slave
You get enslaved to the organization. Can you say that? I don't even know if you can say that anymore.
I mean,
I don't know what the rules are.
I don't know.
We're rolling with it. If I said something off-putting, let me know.
I'm so sorry if that's offensive. I should know, but I
Someone
don't
just
know.
put on LinkedIn, it's awesome to see the circus when you're not an act in it. I love that. It's awesome to see the circus when you're not an act in
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. But um, where else, Jay? Where else do we bleed our time away in nothing land? What are some other things that you can, because I know I can think of some things. What are some ways that you can think of that people just waste their time away without putting making making it memorable, making it count, making it matter?
Yeah, I know the biggest. One of my biggest time wasters, and I'm guilty of it, is just TikTok. Like it's a black hole of like endless entertainment. Like it's
Yeah.
ridiculous. it's designed in such a way that it's absolutely addicting.
Mhm.
And I'll be scrolling for a few minutes, and 20 minutes later, I'm like, man, it's 20 minutes. 20
Yeah.
minutes, you're gone.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take much. It kind of nickels and dimes your time away, right?
Yeah.
When you're on TikTok, you're not engaged with your wife. If you're on TikTok, you're not, doing the thing, skipping workouts, right? It can be such a time suck for you. So that's a pitfall.
Yeah.
Um, what else do I do? I mean, TV, sometimes TV shows,
Mhm.
you start binge watching. One episode leads into another. These episodes are like 45 minutes long.
Yeah.
And I know that's a pitfall that I have sometimes with I like to wind down at the end of the day and watch an episode of something before I go to sleep.
Mhm.
And I've caught myself, and well, that episode was amazing. I got to see the next one, or at least start
Yeah.
it, right?
Yeah.
And then the next thing I know, I'm cutting myself short on sleep. And
Yes. Yeah.
so, what about you?
Uh, yes. 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 All the things, yes. The funny TikTok videos, the funny Instagram videos, the funny social media videos, um, those definitely are my time suck. I'm really good with TV, thankfully. Usually because I've designed it this way. Rudy's our TV person in our house, and he knows where all the shows are on all the channels and all the apps. I do not. So he'll turn something on, and I'm like, "Oh, nope. I don't even wanna start watching TV. Just watch whatever you wanna watch. Please don't turn on something that I'm interested in because I don't wanna get sucked in. I haven't worked that into my plan for tonight because, I may have a meeting I gotta go to, or I may wanna read, or I may need to do some work on my, planning out my week or meal prep or whatever it is. So I'm actually thankfully really good usually about that. Now, on the weekend, I'm not as structured. So if I don't have solid plans to get up first thing in the morning or to do something on the weekend, or I'm just like, I'm just going to kind of wing this weekend, then yes, I'm like, okay, let's see the next one. How many more are left? And then I'll catch myself staying up till, sometimes 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Just wasting time away doing that. But yeah, I think social media is definitely a big one. I'm really glad that I do turn my do not disturb on, um, at night, and, it automatically comes on. It runs from, like, 8:30 at night to 5:30 in the morning. So if you've ever texted me after a certain time and I don't get back with you, I'm not ignoring you. It's just that if you're not on my emergency list in my phone, then I'm not gonna see it. But unfortunately, I have not sat down and figured out a way to put those other apps on that list, so I need to figure that out. Um, but, it's just you we you gotta sit down and take inventory of what you're doing with your time and your life and how it makes you feel. I mean, you may feel perfectly fine and fulfilled and okay with however you're spending your time, and maybe you've got it all figured out, and I really hope you do. I hope you don't have any regrets. Um, but life is too precious and short to waste it away on the things that really don't matter. And nothing's worse than sitting down and thinking about the things that could have been or the things that you should have done, should have said, and how and the life that you could have lived. Because it's really when you put it in that perspective, I know so many people that sometimes they've got a really short fuse and they get really angry a lot about a lot of things. And I wonder sometimes if they ever sit down and put things into perspective, like if I only had a year left, if I only had 5 years left, if I only had 3 years left, if I only had 10 years left, would this be as monumentally important as I'm making it right now? Um, if this person I choose to spend my life with, if I knew they weren't gonna be here in the next 6 months or a year, would whatever I'm upset about bother me? Or would I say, "Hey, maybe we just need to talk about it," or maybe I'm just being a little bit too sensitive, who knows, you know? Um, but it's just you really in this day and age of all the electronics being at your fingertips, of all the information overload, of all the media, the news, dividing us, all these things, if you knew that you weren't gonna be here, would it be as important? And how would you really live your life? What would you really do with this time that we have? You know,
Yeah.
would you go to bed and get a little bit more sleep so you could wake up more refreshed and show up better for yourself and show up better for your friends and show up better for your family? What type of impact would you wanna make? Do you wanna make an impact? I mean, do you want people to remember you? I show up, I was talking to, Jeff Knowles. He filled in when you were out of when you and Lacey were, sunning it up out there, and, he talked about doing his podcast to have a legacy to leave for his kids, and that's one of the reasons I show up every Monday morning is because I wanna leave something. I wanna leave a footprint, a positive footprint on my life. I don't wanna
Yeah.
just exist for no reason, you know? And, you know, everyone has their own reason, but I wanna exist more for just waking up, going to work, and paying my bills. Like, there's
Yeah.
so much more to life out there.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. You're designed to do more than just pay bills and taxes and die, right? And when
Yes.
so there are so many people that are caught up in that. The work is the most important thing. Work is, what are you doing? Why guilting you to to work late? It's
Yeah.
toxic. Horrible.
Yeah, and Jay, I spent so many years and everybody that knows me, that really knows me knows that I spent like 10 years planning to leave this place. To this place as in where I currently live, Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, right? And I didn't take the time to appreciate the beauty of everything that is here. This is a beautiful place. We're in the middle of Missouri, but it is a beautiful place. If you get outside and you look at the landscape and the trees and you just appreciate it. I I don't have regrets, but I would have done things differently. I would have put more time in the here and now versus what I was planning because guess what? That plan never came to fruition because we're not in control. I mean, we're in control of a lot of things, but there's so many things that are much bigger than ourselves. And had I, we've been here since 2009, had I put as much effort this whole time into being here, who knows what that footprint would look like right now.
Yeah.
You
Was
know,
it
I'm
you that said bloom where you're planted? Is that
Yes,
you?
yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's what I started doing when we were during COVID.
When
I'm
you
like,
said that, I grabbed that term and I would tell all the soldiers coming here because a lot of people are like, oh, I'm coming to Fort Leonard Wood. And
yeah,
for those that are in the military or maybe you're in a job where you have to transition from time to time and you get that assignment where you're just like, oh, well, if you go into with that attitude, your whole assignment's going to be,
yeah,
right? So you got to bloom where you're planted. You got to
mhm,
make the most out of it. And yeah, to your point, you know, don't squander your time.
no,
Make the most of it.
we're not getting it back. We're not getting any younger, folks. I'm 47. What? My son? Oh, happy birthday! Hold on, guys. I got to say something really quick. Dion Chandler Smith McCathern, my amazing son. I love you so very much. He's at work right now. He works in Arizona. He works a really hard job. He's a driller, and today's his birthday. He's 27. Happy birthday, son! I know that you're going to be at work working your butt off. You're probably trying to get some sleep today, but happy birthday! I love you. We are so very proud of you, and I can't wait to see you when you get to come home next week.
Happy birthday. That's awesome.
Yeah. I love him, man. He's awesome. He's a great kid. He's a great human. He is a great human.
Good deal. Happy
Yeah.
birthday.
Mhm.
One thing that I was thinking about, this is a common pitfall as I've worked with clients from a performance coaching perspective, and we're looking at time. That's usually what your time is your life. So we're
Mhm.
looking at your time management system, which it's your life management system. A common pitfall for many people is they get involved in these organizations. Maybe it's they want to go volunteer for the Boy Scouts, or maybe they get caught up. They volunteer in their church or some other nonprofit organization. They want to give their time back, right? That's
Mhm.
why these nonprofits exist, to make a difference and impact.
Yeah.
But oftentimes these organizations are underfunded, understaffed, and there's this thing called mission creep. So you'll come in with like this job, and this is the crux of high performing people. You do such a good job that they just continue to ask more of you. And
Uh-huh.
then, and that one nightly commitment becomes, you know what, I can take on a little bit more and I can
Mhm.
do a little bit here. And next thing you know, you're spending, way more time in this organization than you realized.
Yep.
And then some of these things, then it starts to become like what used to bring you joy. It's now like, oh, it starts to become like you start to dread it. When you start
Mhm.
to dread that a little bit, that's an indicator that maybe it's time to let that go and let someone else pass the baton off on that.
That's right.
But here's the problem: because they're under resourced and understaffed, they're going to make you feel guilty for leaving. And
Yes.
but you've got to put a firm boundary up, because I've seen this in people where they've got some sons, but they're volunteering their extra time to the Boy Scouts,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not spending the time that they need with their son. The intent was to participate, but they're ending up spending more time with other people's kids than their very own,
Yeah.
and then they're leaving feeling disconnected,
Mm-hmm.
frustrated, and so that's just a pitfall that people have that they need to be aware of. That's very common, where a lot of time goes into it, you can't get back. So
Overcommitment. I know. I've been there. I lived my life that way for, gosh, most of my adult life. Overcommitted.
yeah,
Overcommitted to all the things because I wanted to do all the things and I
yeah,
love all the people and I like feeling like I make a difference. But guess what? Guess where I needed to make a difference? To myself and to my family
yeah,
first.
yeah,
Myself, self first, then family. Because if I'm not showing up for myself, I can't show up for my family. Remember that, guys. If you're not showing up for yourself, you can't properly show up for your family. Don't forget it.
yeah,
Don't forget it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I want people to put the same amount of effort that they have on that plan at work. Like they're
Mhm.
busting their ass to make the plan for the remainder of the quarter,
Yeah.
for the rest of the year, to meet their objectives. Put that same level of effort into your life, because people just don't do it.
Yeah.
We'll open up a work calendar, and it's just full of work stuff.
Mhm.
There's no they just kind of, it's just left to happenstance, right?
Mhm.
And that's what I want people to do. That's the whole point of this, is to take the same level of control, and be deliberate about your personal time and how you're spending your life outside of work.
Yes.
So
And give
that's it.
yourself permission to not feel guilty about it, people. Give
Yeah.
yourself permission to not feel guilty.
And the final thought before we transition to this weekly wake up winner is, one of the methodologies I use as a coach is to help people redirect their thoughts. So
Mm.
if you're trying to review things, what are a handful of prompting questions. One of my favorite ones is, if you only had 5 years left to live, what would you stop doing?
Yes.
And I really want people to think about that today, from today's episode. If you only had 5 years left to live, what would you stop doing? I like that
Mhm.
time period, because it's like, if you only had a year left to live, well, you drop this and do that. 5 years, a little bit more. It's a little bit
Yeah.
more methodical, right? So,
Mhm.
um, I really want you to think about that. If you only had 5 years left to live, what would you stop doing? Because you're doing some bullshit right now that you shouldn't be doing.
Mhm.
It's keeping you from living your life. So,
Yeah, I really like that question too. But because you can ask people all the time, "What would you do? What would you do?" But when
yeah,
you reframe that into, "What would you stop doing?" Woo, that kind of puts a whole 'nother spin on it right there, you know?
yeah,
That
yeah,
changes the way you think about it.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, love it.
All right. Let me switch my screen here. My favorite part of the week is the weekly wake up winner. So this one's a little bit heartfelt for me personally. This is Roy and Carol Mealer. Roy and Carol Mealer are exceptional, fantastic, salt of the earth Americans. What I love about Roy and Carol is I'd met them a couple of years ago when I was co-hosting the Budget Overland podcast. And overlanding is vehicle dependent travel. We would interview people about just going out there and traveling the world in their vehicle. And they met, and they've been traveling the country together for about 3 years. And they've got a Jeep, and they've got a pull behind trailer that's a camping setup. And when we interviewed them, they were actually out there in the Grand Tetons. There's a program where you can go out there and basically live at the park, and you volunteer your time at the park, and they let you stay there, and you get like a stipend. Most national parks and state parks offer that. And that's what they were doing. They were just living their life out there, just getting after it. They just got married on July 5th, and just a couple of days later, Roy was diagnosed with cancer, and he's terminal, and they're in the battle of their lives right now, to fight the cancer and extend as much life as they can, so they can have some more adventures. And that really, their story is what really, like, what I love about them is they've been living their life, and just like most of us, we're planning on, and sometimes life has offers you up, I don't know, some challenges, right?
Yeah.
And they're in the fight of their life right now at this very moment, and they could use some support, and just some help. And And I just want, and Angie, you and I were talking, recently. Like,
Mhm.
I'm thinking there's a Rolodex of people right now, like a handful of other people that are going through this exact same scenario in their
Yeah.
life, in their middle age, right? And
Hmm.
just that was kind of prompted this episode title is like, look, we have to live our life, and just grab everything we can out of this.
Yeah.
And so, Roy and Carol, my hearts and prayers are definitely with you guys. You guys inspired me to, from an overlander perspective, to get out there and live more. And I'm sorry, I'm so desperately sorry that this has happened to you. And I'm sending you positive strength and prayers your way. They're doing a fundraiser right now. They've got the Roy Strong bracelets here. You can go to Venmo at Roy-Mealer-1, or you can email Carol Gilbert, r@gmail.com. And I'll put all the contact information in the show notes. But they could use some help with some fundraising as well, to close up the health insurance gap, and to maybe help travel a little bit more while they have some time here on this,
Hmm.
as they're fighting this. So, um, but yeah, that's it. I mean, Carol, Roy, I appreciate you guys. God bless you. And
Yeah.
reminder, if you can throw a couple bucks their way, please do so. Help them out.
Yep.
And for everyone else, just live your life. Live your life.
Yeah. Yes. Live your life. Go out there today. It only takes just a little bit to have a maybe profound impact on someone else's life, with kind words or a smile. Throw somebody a smile. Make somebody smile today. Um, just try to put those good positive vibes, that good energy, that good human to human connection. Establish some really good human to human connection with at least one person today. Um, even with a wave, somebody that you don't know, make eye contact, eye contact with someone, and just, give them a little smile,
Yeah.
and keep on going.
It
And
goes a long way.
yeah, it does.
So
Make today a
that's
great day,
it.
guys. Yeah.
Yeah, make a great day. Don't waste your time. Get out there, live
Nope.
your life, and no regrets. No regrets.
No regrets. Hey, guess what? You can order that tattoo now, like from Temu or somewhere.
Oh, you
Get you a no.
can?
You can. I was like, huh, that
Awesome.
temporary tattoo.
Temporary
But
tattoo.
that'd be funny. Anyway, no regrets.
All right. Well, hey, everyone out there, keep doing hard things, and
Yes.
we'll see you guys next episode.
All right. We'll
Oh,
see
by
ya.
the way,
Oh,
if you know someone that we're looking for people to
yes,
nominate
yes.
somebody, we're going to send Carol and Roy a Do Hard Things shirt. And if you know anyone else out there that's doing hard things, and we want to recognize them, we want to send them a shirt. So let us know.
Yes, you. Hey, we have. Hey, listener. I know someone that's doing hard things.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
yes, let us know. Let us know.
All right, listener. You only had 5 years left to live. What would you stop doing?
That's
All
right.
right. We'll see you guys in the next episode.
All right.
Peace.